Hi and welcome. Today it's all about the hamstrings, and we're going to do a little bit of active flexibility work, but also some really nice, juicy. I hate that word. I don't hate the word. Juicy is a good word in yoga. Anyway, I digress. We're going to do some nice, juicy yin stretches as well. So we're going to start standing. Because what I want us to start out with is just getting a little bit of, I like to call this like a bounce fascia move. And we're basically just kind of going into the elasticity, the natural elasticity of the body. And this is really good. We should be doing this all over the body every day, really. But what I want you to come into is a little bit of a forward fold like this. Don't have to go super deep. You're not forcing anything. And what you're going to be doing, you're just going to start bouncing. So you go a little deep into that bounce so you feel a stretch in your hamstrings. Just bouncing. And just letting the natural elasticity of your body kind of pull you back up. And you're going to come all the way up to standing, just because we want to do a little bit of opposite. So reach your arms up, and you're going to do the same, just kind of bouncing forward like this. Boop. And you're going to come back into your forward fold, and again, you're just going to bounce, bounce, bounce. Good. And then I want you to come down onto your back. Got a little bit of heat in your hamstrings. So come lying down, knees bent, feet flat on the ground. And take a moment to close your eyes. Bring your attention to your breath. And breathing through your nose. Feel your belly move with your breath. And then hug your right knee to your chest. And then interlace your hands behind that right thigh. And try and keep the natural curve in your spine. So as you're pulling your knee towards you, can you kind of curve that lumbar spine so it's off the mat? And try and hold that. And I want you to point your right toes. And I want you to straighten that right leg as much as you can. So it's okay, that's not completely straight. Still trying to keep that natural curve in your spine. And then flex your right foot and bend your knee. And point, straighten, flex, and bend, and point, straighten, flex, and bend. Release. And then take your left knee to your chest. Give it a little squeeze. And interlace your hands behind the left thigh. And again, you're going to revisit that little lumbar curve. Point your toes. Straighten the leg as much as you can. Flex the foot. And bend. And point. Straighten. Flex. And bend. Point. Straighten. Flex. and bend. And release. I want you to come onto your side. And you can put your elbow down, rest your head on your hand. And then what you're going to do, you're going to start bending that top leg. Just let your foot slide up your leg, and you're going to take that top knee as close up towards your head as you can. And you're still pointing the toes, and then straighten the leg, flex, and take it down. Point your toes, slide it up, straighten, flex, and bend. And point, slide up, straighten, flex, and bend, or come down. And again, bend, slide up, straighten. And as you're up here this time, I want you to just put a little bit of bounce into it. So you're just going to bounce, 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 bounce. And let the leg come down. Come over to the other side. And again, top leg. Slide it up as high as you can get it. Straighten as much as you can. Flex the foot and take it down. Point. Slide up. Straighten. Flex the foot and down. And point. Slide up. Straighten. Flex the foot and down. And last time, you're going to come up, straighten, and you're going to bounce. And let it come down. Come on to your belly, lift up onto all four. And you're going to move into a little bit of cat-cow. Let's get that movement into your body. So it's not just the hamstrings we're moving today. And then come to a neutral spine. Step your right leg out to the side. And I want you to roll onto the inside of your foot and actively press that into the mat. So a little bit of engagement coming up your leg. And then roll onto the bottom of the foot again and take a couple of cat-cows. And come back to center, other side. And again, first you're going to roll onto the inside of the foot, actively press that into the mat. And roll onto the bottom of the foot again. Add the cat-cows. And come back to center. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back. Keep your knees bent. Move your belly towards your thighs. Get that length going through your arms, through your spine. And slowly roll forward. Lower your hips, open up your chest. And come back and walk out. Find that down dog. Down dog is an excellent back body lengthener. So including the hamstrings here. You can walk it out. And look forward. Step to the front of your mat, come into a ragdoll forward fold. Keep a little bend in your knees. You're still going to stretch the hamstrings with bent knees, so you're good. Make sure you're nice and soft in your whole body. Inhale, lengthen. Step your left leg back. Lower that back knee, come into a lunge. Reach your arms up and sink into the lunge. And then straighten the front leg. Come into a half split. Flex that right foot. It's okay if you have a little bend in your knee, that's fine. Really lengthen the spine and pull that right thigh bone into your hip socket. And then add a little nerve floss by pointing and flexing your front foot. And remember, if you really tighten your hamstrings, prop yourself up on blocks. If this is too deep for you, you use the props. And come forward, take a lizard pose. Just say hi to your hips. So we do move into the surrounding areas of the hamstrings, and it's simply because, remember, everything is connected. So those tight hamstrings, they might be pulling on your lower back, and vice versa. So it's important not to just isolate a certain muscle and think we just stretch that and nothing else. You're not going to really get the full effect and full what's necessary, really. You always have to address other parts of the body. And sometimes tight something is completely unrelated to that area itself. All right, step back to a plank pose. Move through your vinyasa. Do one of those today. Come back to down dog. And then step forward, come into that ragdoll forward fold again. And then step your right leg back. Lower the back knee, come into your lunge. And again, you're going to sink into the lunge. And then come into your half split. And add that little nerve floss. Point and flex the foot. And bend the front knee. Come into lizard pose. And step to the front of your mat. Come into that forward fold again. And Lower your butt to the ground, come to seated. So I want you to take your right leg, bend the knee, take the bottom of your foot to the inside of that left thigh. And if you need to prop yourself up, if you've got really tight hamstrings, it can be great to prop yourself up, maybe even sit on a block, and otherwise sit on a blanket. And it just means when we prop ourselves up like this, if we have tight hamstrings, we can have this beautiful natural curve in our spines, because otherwise we end up sitting like this, because we have to use our lower back to move into that length, to move into the hamstrings. We can't sit up like this because we don't have the length in the hamstrings. So prop yourself up if you need to. And then inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, come into a forward fold. And this is going to be your version. So again, if you have super tight hamstrings, your forward fold might look like this. Great place to start. So don't be too hung up on, it's not really a forward fold because I'm not folding a lot. Well, it's your version of a forward fold. So what we don't want to do is start to move into a place of pain. We want to feel the stretch, maybe even a tiny bit of discomfort, but not pain. So if this is painful for you, you've gone too far, you back off, you find the softness in the stretch. Be able to soften your body, be able to focus on your breath. And then what I want you to play a little bit with is, can you engage the quad, the front of your thigh, in this straight leg? So just try and, you might even want to just give yourself a little poke, just make sure that it's turned on. And just play with engaging that as your fold. So what happens is when we engage the quad, it has this little relationship with your hamstring, so it automatically starts to release your hamstring. And you can engage it and then release. And again, engage it, hold it for a bit. And move in between those two. And start focusing on your breath. Deep inhale, deep exhale. And maybe think about, can I lengthen a little bit? So think leading with your heart. So it's not, can I get my nose down to my shin? It's like, can I melt my belly onto the thigh? Come back up and move over to the other leg. You can sit up nice and tall, reach your arms up and fold. You can play around a little bit. Can I engage the quad? You might notice that you have one leg that's where the hamstring is a lot more open than the other side. That's normal. So how we fix that, so to speak, is instead of forcing your tighter side deeper, and instead of not going as deep on the more open side, we simply stay a little longer on our tight side. So maybe if you feel a big difference between the legs after this class, once we're done, you go back to this stretch on your tighter side and just spend a couple of minutes just stretching that tight side for a little longer. Slowly come back up. And then I want you to take your right leg and cross over. So you're going to be stacking your knees. This is how it looks from the front. So you're stacking your knees. This might be a little bit difficult for you. So if you're over here, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We all are where we are. So stacking the knees is like a one-legged cow face legged pose. And again, if you feel a stretch right here is a great place to be. And otherwise, move into a forward fold. And come back up. Other side. Stack the knees. Sit up tall. Maybe go into a forward fold. back up. And come lying all the way down onto your back. Hug your knees to your chest. And take your arms out to the sides. Let both of your legs come over to one side. Finish off with a reclined twist. Come back to center and over to the other side. And come back to center. And lie flat down, find your Shavasana. Take a few minutes to just let your body absorb all the work you've just done. So you're going to stay here as long as you need and just relax. Relax your body, relax your breath and your mind. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.